I like Corbin and Valerina as characters. I want to focus more on them because they are the main two of the story. So it was nice to have that. And welcome back once again to another book review. Now, it's kind of late. It's 10:30 at night, but I finally finished Orison. I don't know how you say it, but it is the story by my lovely writer. This book is kind of like The Mortal Instruments in terms of the fact that our main character is a human that finds out she's not as human as she thought she was and gets taken into this magical world. Let's get into the characters. Once again, the characters are the 12, and Valerina is the 5th ranker in the 12th. She doesn't know what she is yet. She just knows that she's not as human as she originally thought. She's just trying her best to make it through everything. You know how in the last book I told you there were a lot of characters? Well, yeah, she makes it worse. She adds a whole nother group of this direct controllers. I'm not really going to talk about them much. In this book, they don't matter. They might come back up in the next book, which is not finished yet, and I'm going to wait until it is finished to go ahead and read it. They're not really important. It's just more characters to add to the pile. And can we talk about Valerina as a character? So in the first book, the writer of the story was 12 when she wrote it. So you can forgive the immaturity of the main character, even though she's supposed to be an older character and kind of at least 16, 17. Her being immature in the first book is forgivable because the person writing it at the time was 12. But then, a few chapters into the second book, the author herself puts in a little note saying she was in college when she wrote this chapter. So at the third book now, and having gone back and rewriting them now that she is older, she's even older. So the immaturity of Valerina just comes off as even more annoying. And what makes it more annoying is the fact that she says, "I've really grown," or "I've changed." And I'm just like, you can't just say to the audience that you've grown or that you've changed. Because from where I'm sitting, you're still the same person you were in the first book. You still threaten to kill people because they made one mean comment. You still fly off the handle at dumb shit. You're still the same character from the first one. You have not matured at all. And you're making it worse by saying you have. Corbin is very much the same. He's slowly starting to feel things for Valerina or admit to himself that he's starting to feel those things, but we'll talk about that in the next category in my thoughts. First off, let me just say, there is no reason that this book needed to be almost 85 chapters. 85 chapters. It says 79 chapters, but when you count the epilogue and the prologue, both of which are not short, that's already 78. And then all throughout all of these books, at first I thought it was an accident, but 3 books in now, all through the book, it is still happening. The author has this strange habit of splitting one chapter into 2 chapters and numbering it the exact same number instead of numbering it the next number. So say she has chapter 1, and then chapter 2 she wants to split up into 2 chapters, and instead of naming it chapter 2 title part 1, chapter 3 title part 2, she'll name them both chapter 2. And at that point, why even split the chapters up? So it's closer to 80, 85 chapters. I couldn't tell you. I don't know why she does that. I think it's a style choice, but it was really confusing and annoying as a reader because I often would get confused. I'm like, wait, I just read chapter whatever it was. Why am I reading it again? But no, it's a different chapter. So that got mildly annoying. But in terms of story, we see that the Academy is having a festival. And this is the 3rd book in the series, so if you don't want it spoiled for you, you can go ahead and leave. But the Academy is having a festival. And they're hosting like events and making events. And all of the 12, as like this main event to the festival, are going to go head to head and spar with each other. But partway through the fighting, Valerina and Corvin go off to Corvin's kingdom that he's the prince of, because he wants to show his family that he's engaged to Valerina. It's a fake engagement because he doesn't want to be engaged to the woman that they want him to engage to. So he's kind of using Valerina as a scapegoat while slowly starting to admit to himself that he actually likes her. And so for most of the book, we see the startup of the festival, and then Corvin and Valerina split off to do their own thing. So we follow Valerina and Corvin and the rest of the 12 separately. And we see the rest of the 12 going through all of these stages and all of these battles between each other. And these battles are not just regular sparring. Like, they could actually kill each other. They're using real weapons. They're using all the powers in their arsenal. And if one of the rankers loses, they could lose their position to the one that beat them. So say if you were 12th ranker and you beat the 5th ranker, you would then move up into the 5th position, and they would be knocked back to the 12th position. So there are real stakes to this fight, because A, they could lose their position or gain a position, and B, they could die, because, yeah. So there's that whole thing with the fights. And then you have Valerina and Corvin, because Valerina is what's known as a direct controller, meaning she has more abilities over the soul of people and of demons, which demons don't have a soul. That's kind of the whole point. She has to go and get the blessings of all of the guardian beasts from each kingdom and each element. It's kind of like an Avatar story in that way, where she's going to all of the places to get the blessings in order to balance her soul and help her powers. And I liked the Corvin and Valerina storyline. It was nice to just take a break from all of those other characters that really don't matter much to the story, because a lot of them don't even get fleshed out anyway. Some of them we don't even hardly know anything about. She's trying to make some of the other characters, like, known and have backstory, but there's a lot of characters to keep track of, and when you keep adding more, like with the familiars, now there's dragons, now there's the direct controller group, and the whole 12 themselves, and the headmaster, and Serafina, her trainer. It's like, there are so many characters. I'd be amazed if she was able to give backstories to them all. And I'm not saying every character in the story needs backstory, but if the 12 group is who these books are about, then they need to be fleshed out, because they're the main characters, essentially, of the group. That'd be like in Ruby, the Rooster Teeth show, having 5 characters, but only giving development to 2 or 3 of them. You can't do that. You can't have these group of main characters and then leave some of them on the back burner. And that's why it's good to keep your story to a handful of characters, so that way you can focus and give those characters time to grow. So it was so nice and so refreshing to just focus on just 2 of them, like the main 2. Corvin and Valerina are the main 2. They're the couple. They're the enemies to lovers trope. Like, they're our main goal. So it was nice to see them split off from the rest and do their own thing. I loved watching Corvin show more interest in Valerina and just kind of let his "I'm a cold-hearted warrior, I've trained my whole life." Like, it was nice to see that facade slip. Like, that cold-hearted warrior facade just slip a little bit. and for him to be honest with Valerina for once and gentle with her. Not to say he was rude, like, okay, he's rude to her, but he's not, like, physically mean or anything like that. But just little bites and little things like that he does. But then I would be enjoying seeing Valerina and Corvin together, and then next chapter we'd just be thrown into the storyline with the festival, and we'd be watching characters that are barely developed fight each other for positions that I don't even know why they matter. To be honest, like, it would have been nice to just, like, if you want to have the festival in there and you want a reason for Corvin and Valerina to fight, you could have just set that up, faded it out, and then focused on the Corvin and Valerina story. Because every single time we flashed back to the fighting, it threw me out of the story. I don't think that the book needed to be as long as it was, because it didn't fit very well. But all in all, I think that this one might have been my favorite so far, because she does dive into more backstory of the world, of why they think this is happening to Valerina, of Corvin, who I'm kind of interested to figure out what his whole deal is. And I like Corvin and Valerina as characters. I want to focus more on them because they are the main two of the story. So it was nice to have that. And watching them fight, and watching him not take it easy on her, was refreshing. Because oftentimes you see the guy taking it easy on the girl because he's like, I'm the first ranker, you can't touch me, like, I'm just gonna parry your blows and we're just gonna call it done. He holds back a bit, yeah, but he does not take it like 100% easy on her. He shows her that it takes skill to get to where she is, and that was nice. Like, the whole story of seeing Corvin's world, seeing him soften up a bit, like, ask Valerina for help and be a person for once and talk about things. And oh my gosh, his little sister is yet another character added in, but his little sister is adorable, and she is yet another direct controller like Valerina, and she becomes very attached to Valerina because of that, because she's mute, and the only way she can talk is through telepathy. And Valerina is the only one that can hear her, and it was like, oh, my heart, that was so sweet and so sad, and like, it was so cute, and I loved the whole thing being in his world. I loved seeing the dragons, and them trying to figure out how they were going to deal with the dragons. I loved seeing Corvin's family and his little sister, and getting to see the connection between him and Valerina grow. Everything else, I think, could have been cut. Like, they could have, like, introduced the festival and had Valerina and Corvin make some excuse to ditch until it was their turn to fight, and then do their band show later. Like, they could have made an excuse to flesh that out and not have it be part of the story, and just focus on Valerina and Corvin. Like, they could have said, oh, we'll be back in time for our fight and for the concert. We're gonna dip. We got important things to do. And then we could have just focused on them the whole time. And I feel like it would have been such a better story, and a lot shorter. Because these chapters are not short chapters, and it's an 85-page book. Or 85 chapter book. It was huge. So I liked it. I will continue the fourth one whenever it is fully finished. She updates it regularly because she is currently going back and rewriting it, like I said. But for now, I think I'm going to read a new book that I got, It's called The Book of Hours. I would show you, but my camera is currently sitting on it and it doesn't have the jacket anyway. I think whoever shipped the order to me felt bad that the book didn't have the dust jacket, because they sent me a bunch of coupons and things, which was really sweet. That was really nice and considerate to do. But like, I get it. Hardcovers, dust jackets are really annoying. They slip out of your hands, they fall off the book. You want them out of the way when you're reading. Honestly, I've gotten into the habit of taping my hardcover sleeves in on the book so they don't come off. Most of my hardcover books that I own anyway are just black underneath, so there's no cool things on the hardcover to cover up. So yeah, I'm going to read the Book of Hours. From the way my grandma described it, it's kind of like House of Anubis. This guy moves into a new house because he inherited it from a family member, and all of a sudden he starts finding these riddles that lead him to other riddles that are going to lead him to something. What's that something he finds? I don't know, but like, I'm here for it. So as always, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Sorry if this video was rambly. It's a little late. I'm a little tired, and hope to see you next time.